Good afternoon, everyone. I hope all of you are staying healthy and taking good care of your health. And today we will be discussing about the geography. Geography from UPSC point of view. And we will see that what kind of strategy is required to go with the geography. We'll also discuss that what kind of sources are required, and we'll also have a brief discussion on the patterns of questions which have been seen over the past 10 to 15 years. Major focus will be on the 10 years for sure. Now, if we see the pattern, or let's say if we conclude the pattern which is there in exam with reference to the geography. So first of all, if I say in this way that the geography and environment both are connected with each other. So sometimes you can count question either in environment or in geography. For instance, agriculture. So there are so many questions which are coming nowadays from the agriculture portion. So we have some terms. The question are not in depth. So question are basically the subsurface kind in terms of its nature, but we can count such kind of question either in environment or in geography. So however, geography is connecting with the environment. So while attempting such kind of questions, you can easily go with the the option so that you can handle the question, or let's say you can correct the question. Well, if we say geography, so geography can be divided if we see in terms of nature of the subject, and like if we see the strategy. So different strategy is required for geography. So if we differentiate the geography in two ways, in this way, like first one is the static part. Now when I say static part, so in the static part most of the times you have to go with the concepts, and rather than that you have to think about the application, the possible application of the concept. Then we have a dynamic portion. So when I say dynamic portion, the dynamic portion we could have a questions which are actually based on current affairs and any kind of climatic circulations, any kind of weather phenomena. For instance, nowadays we have a bomb cyclone, so much in news. So questions may be there in exam. So question may be either in terms of application, that which reason will likely to affect. Questions will be there in terms of causes, that which of the following factors are responsible for the bomb cyclone, and like that. So question will be maybe framed in such a way that one or two statement could be from the static part, while the one statement or the two statement could be in such a way that they are somehow linking with the dynamic portion, the current kind of aspect. So bomb cyclone, or we'll have a discussion on that. Apart from this, dynamic, if we consider the dynamic nature, so here we have a map section, or I'll say map. Now map we can also divide in two ways. So the first one is many of the questions which are based on map. So the questions are actually looking like they are from the static part, but they are inspired from the current events. Nowadays we are having conflict in Russia and Ukraine, or let's say in the European region. So we have so many water bodies over there. So like questions could be there in terms of map. So current affairs with reference to the water bodies. So we'll say current affairs, like whatever major physical features. So major physical features are, question can be asked from this portion. Then if we say map, like in another aspect, so question could be there in this way, like either they'll ask you in terms of pair, either they'll ask you in terms of like a trade winds, either they'll ask you in this way, like this trade wind have a influence in which of the following region. So there we'll have a static part like trade winds, for example, and they may ask you question in this way, that which region will going to affect. However, the region may be in news. For example, Mediterranean region is the all-time favorite region of UPSC, and every year, in a rough manner, you'll see that questions are directly being asked from the Mediterranean region, and like a majority of seas and oceans, those who are located, the questions are there. Moreover, there is also one more trend, and the trend is that how you analyze the map. And like they will ask you a question in this way, that like we have a one port, so what will be its significance? So you have to think in that case. Like a question was there which was based on, let's say, Afghanistan and India, and there was a question that if we have a Gwadar port, so what will be its possible advantages to the India? So that was the based on map, analysis of map. So questions could also be there in this way as well. So India point of view, questions could be in such a way. So these I'll say are the dynamic in nature. However, they are dynamic in such a manner that they are inspired from the current events. They are inspired from the current affairs. Now, when I say static part, in static part, we have a pattern. We have a pattern that some of the questions are coming from the fundamental sections. Like if you see the fundamental section, let's say in this way, that questions could be there in terms of seasons, summer solstice, winter solstice, like that. And either question could be in this way, that they will add one or two dimensions with each other. They'll ask question in more analytical in nature, like they'll give you a situation that sun is on this particular latitude on this given date. So what will be the like a significance in northern hemisphere, like what kind of zenith angle would be there with the southern hemisphere. So in this way, like analytical kind of questions will be there from the season kind of aspect. Then here we have another kind of pattern which we have seen. So climate. In climate, if we see, so weather circulation, let's say we have an Indian Ocean dipole, then we have a Madden-Julian oscillation, then we have El Nino, then we have La Nina. So like kind of questions could be there, or questions could be there with the clubbing of both. I mean, questions could be there. They'll add the IOD with the El Nino and La Nina. So questions could be there in this way as well. So there was a question which was based on Indian Ocean dipole, and the Indian Ocean dipole, and the question was directly in this way, that sometimes IOD was seen in news while having a forecasting of Indian monsoon. So that question is while it was in news, and the question, it looks like that it is in news, but it's somewhere connected to the static part. So backward linkages are also there. So I'll say in this way, that if we have a static part and if we make a forward connection, or let's say forward connect. So forward connect is like from the static to current, and when we have a backward connection, that can be categorized as like from the current to the static part. So current and the static, both are important. I mean, you have to see the things connected in a connected manner. Apart from this, if you see the weather circulation, so questions could be there, let's say static part, so trade winds, or let's say the pressure belts, questions could be there in this way, that they may ask a flavor of ocean currents. Last year we had a question like westerlies and easterlies, though the name was not given, but the influence of these westerlies or warm current and ocean current. So question was in this way, that on the western coast there is a warm condition and like that. So roughly the question was in this way. So it was having two dimensions. It was having a dimension of trade winds, or let's say the pressure belts, and that question was also having a ocean kind of, I mean, cold current and warm current kind of aspect angle as well. So these type of portion which we have seen, those who are remaining news. Apart from this, if we see the static part, so we have agriculture as well. And in agriculture we have two things. First one is the soil. So soils, say we are having good amount of questions, rather they'll add a soil with the climate. So and that becomes the, let's say, equatorial region. So vegetation will be there, and they'll give you a feature, and you have to think about that which regions are there. So this kind of questions were also there. Now when I connect soil, so when I say soil, so soil is also connected with the vegetation, and here if you see, so soil is also connected with the vegetation in this way, that the current, apart from the static part, it is also linked with the dynamic one. And then we have a forest survey report. So that is the important portion. So current affairs are very important. Agriculture, so they may give you conditions that this is what the temperature, this is what the precipitation, so which crops is there. They may ask a question in this way. They'll go with the map kind of aspect. They'll ask question while giving a region, and which region was remain in news, and what is the climatic factors, those who are prevalent over a region. And they'll ask you question in terms of agriculture, that this crop or this crop is likely to occur, or like is it cultivable or not. So geography allows the cultivation basically. So in this way, like questions could be there. So climatic conditions, then we have a temperature, then we have a precipitation, and at last we could have a like another important factor which we can say again on the basis of soil distribution. Now, there is a suggestion from my side, guys, that whenever you go through the static parts, always keep atlas with you. So when you keep atlas with you, what will happen that just go through the concept or just go through the information which is written in the book and just try to locate those facts or try to analyze those facts while referring the atlas. What will happen, like our, if we say in terms of like a memorization, so our minds used to store things in a more image manner. So like imagination or image manner is like we'll have a color in atlas. So just try to think on that. Rather than going to the fact or rather than memorizing the fact, it will be good if you go with the colors. Now, while colors, you can also find out that which country will share border with which country will share border with which water boundary, like that. Mediterranean region is a very important, we can say, and questions are likely to occur from this portion. It is as I mentioned earlier as well in this session, is Mediterranean region is all-time favorite portion of UPSC. Now I predict that the questions will be there. Either questions will be there from, let's say, LLC, either questions will be there from the Caspian Sea, or they may ask you question in such a way that which is the analytical in its manner. They may ask you question in such a way that like Russia annexed Crimea. So what will be the significance of the Crimea for Russia, basically? So geographical aspect, we could have the questions. Like there could be statement in this way that all weather port access. So like this will be the significant reason, because most of the part of Russia, if you see, so they lies in the temperate region, cool region. So coastline of Russia during the winter, the coastline used to be covered with the snow. So Russia is not having an all-weather port. So that is what the geography, which is actually driving the current events, or we can say the international relations. Well, static part we were discussing. Now let's come back here. So apart from this, if you see another kind of sections in this way, like a dynamic one. So in the dynamic portion, we could also have a questions. Some questions, I'll say, some questions will also be there, which I would say unconventional topics. So some of the questions could be from the solar system, like they'll give you a feature of a planet and like questions could be there. Questions could be there in such a way that they may ask question that like these, let's say, like a difference between the celestial bodies like Jovian planets, inner planets, like that. Though it is related with the solar system, question could be there. They may ask you a question in this way. In UPSC, in prelims, questions could be there in such a way that they'll give you a Lagrange point, for example, and they'll give you the like a planet, and like towards right of that planet, towards the left of that planet, while giving you a reference. So questions could be there in this way as well. And nowadays we have Lagrange points. So L1 points, L2 points, those who are remain in news. So question could be there. Now Lagrange point, which we used to learn in this science. So questions could be there with the addition of some sort of geographical factors. So as I mentioned, two things are very connected with each other. So first one is the environment with the geography. Sometimes question would be there in national park and they'll ask you some sort of map kind of aspect. Like in 2018, the question was there, which of the following biosphere reserve connect the Western Ghat with the Eastern Ghat? So question is based on geographical features, but it is having a locational kind of aspect. So environment is also there, we can say. So both are connected. Both are, we can say, runs hand in hand. So solar system is an unconventional, we can say, topic. Apart from this, we could have some sort of theories. Questions are, there might be a possibility that rarely question will be there, but who knows, will be there, because trained, if we talk about the trained in UPSC, so somehow trained will not have an abrupt shift. Okay, they'll not ask you question in such a way that they are generally putting question in this way, like regions, the famous regions, those who are in news, they'll ask you question either in terms of pairs or in terms of statements. So sometimes there might be a possibility that they'll give you pair, and while giving pair, like 2-3 reasons will be in news. But it is not like they're going to ask, in UPSC, you'll not see the questions which are based on region, and the number of such kind of question is 10. So abrupt shift is not there, though like question will be there in such a way that 2-3 questions may be asked from the region if I talk about this particular aspect. So my point here is that there may be shift, we cannot predict that, but the shift will not be abrupt, sudden shift will not be there. So might be a question from unconventional, and when I say unconventional, so like a space related theories could also be there in exam. So these are the broad themes which I can say which are there in the geography. So here we also covered the ocean significance as well. Then we have covered about the like a weather circulation. Now when I say weather circulation, so it is also related with the atmosphere. Now atmosphere we can also count in a fundamental section. So atmosphere, say we could also have so many questions. Then we may have a question which I can say they are from the static concepts of ocean, salinity, water body and salinity could be there. They may ask you question in this way that what are the reasons for high salinity, low salinity, like that. Then we have another kind of fundamental section, I will say, or let's say the blend of many factors, location factors, temperature distribution. So what factors are related with each other? So these are the possible dimensions from which question can be asked by a UPSC, because it was there over the course of 10 to 15 years. So definitely the pattern is likely to repeat this year as well as the years in the next years as well. So which we'll likely to see. Well, if we talk about the sources, so in order to deal with the dynamic portion, so nowadays we have polar vortex, which is in news. We have sudden stratospheric warming. Question could also be there from this section as well. Bomb cyclone, recurring cyclone. So they are remain in news, though they somehow they are connected to the static part. So question could be there. Now in order to deal with such kind of topics I just named, so you have to go with the current affairs. So current affairs are must. And for this you can refer to the, like we have a magazine in KSG, so KSG Current Connect, you can refer for the dynamic portion, or let's say the current affairs. So sources for the dynamic portion is, as I mentioned, like you can refer with the magazine. Then just follow the newspaper, like which regions are remaining news, which water bodies are remaining news. Let's say we are in context of India, there is a conflict between let's say at the border, Chinese and Indian border. So what kind of geographical features are related to that particular conflict area, wherever there was a confrontation between the Indian army, or let's say in the between the Indian army and Chinese army. Geographical factors, Sela Pass, Sela Tunnel, and what kind of rivers are used to flow around those territories. So questions could be there from this aspect as well. From this point of view, question can also be there. So you have to see the map and I'd say region, both in context of India as well as with reference to the world as well. Levant was a term, Sahel is a term, Great Wall Initiative. So it is a kind of terms which are constantly remain in news. So you can go with such kind of a portion from the map and magazine. So now here the catch is, like if you see the sudden stratospheric warming, so this SSW event is related to the environment as well. However, like geographical factors are also there. So you can count this question in both the ways, either in environment or in geography. But like if there is a blend, or let's say if we could have a factors, those who are inspired from the geography, static part, so we can count such question, those who are the part of environment, solely the part of environment. However, however, if there is a location factor, so we can count in a geography. In order to deal with the static part, so first we have to go through the NCERTs. NCERTs are must, or let's say NCERTs are must from the concept point of view. The concepts are very good written. So we have a 6th class NCERT, then we have a 11th class NCERT. In 11th class NCERT from India point of view, we have a India Physical Environment, that is an important significant book. Then we have a Fundamentals of Physical Geography. So you just refer that book as well. For Agriculture, Human Geography. So books are there. So in a nutshell manner, I'll say the question, the NCERTs, you have to go through the NCERTs from 6th to 12th class. Then for the further reference kind of reading, you can pick either GC Leong. So that is a good book actually, like a climate and all these chapters are given in a crisp manner, and questions are likely to occur from the crisp manner because that book is not in depth. It is having a horizontal cover of knowledge in terms of geographical aspect. So that you can refer as well. So we have GC Leong. Now this book can also be referred. Apart from this, if you are serious about this year like a prelims, so I'll suggest you practice as much as you can. And as you know, like a KSG is about to begin its course, which is the PT Destinaire, and in that course you'll have crisp short notes so that you can revise. And I hope many of you would have a like anxiety that you are not able to clear the UPSC despite having 1 or 2 attempts. So I'm not doubting your knowledge, but I'm sure that you guys are lacking in your strategy. So strategy is required. Even with the limited knowledge, if you are having a strategy, you can sail through this journey of UPSC. And in this journey, KSG is with you. You can go with the, you can enroll with the PT Destinaire. You have a short notes, or in the previous sessions you have been already informed. We'll have OTOPs. So those OTOPs will help you to go with the revision in a fast manner. Then there is a focus on the questions. Now the questions which are there, so questions are having like a dimensions or the nature, or I'll say the pattern. So the pattern of question is aligned to the pattern of UPSC. So just read, just revise and attempt the questions and work on your strength as well as on your weakness. So by doing this, you can have a significant hold on the geography, and like sometimes you can also have a hold of environment as well. Now if we remove like a basic core of the core concepts, let's say ecosystem and related terms, they are very important. So they are, we can count in a like an environment. But if you see the like a vegetation, so vegetation, or let's say the distribution of forest in geography becomes biomes in environment. So both are connected, we can say, in this manner. Okay, so like if one question is there which it seems like it is coming from environment, but there might be possibility that you can solve that question while applying the geography knowledge. The geographical aspect, if you like apply geography's concept, if you apply, so you may able to solve such kind of question. We had a question which is based on savanna grassland. So this question was based on, I would say, the ecological succession, the process of ecological succession basically. But the factors which was given, so factors will have a geographical aspect. So you can easily go with such kind of questions. Okay, so that's all about today's session. I hope there is a clarity over the which kind of sources are required. I hope there is a clarity what is a pattern of questions, and I hope there is a clarity that what broad themes you have to think upon. That's all for now, and soon we'll begin the course. So if you want to have maximize your chances to clear this prelims, so have a enrollment and be with us in your journey. KSG is always with you, and will provide mentorship support as well. We'll also provide let's say like a daily interaction kind of session at our Delhi center as well. So take care. Bye bye.